Hey, as you can see, I'm currently kinda busy. But because I still want to make some content while I continue being busy and working on some other bigger videos, I wanted to do more short form content, kinda like my last video. And you can thank Blizzard for helping me out with a topic to talk about. I actually wanted to finish another video that I planned quite a while ago, but nope! This one makes me way too mad to not talk about it. They actually cancelled the promoted PvE mode for Overwatch 2. You know, the thing that would turn the sequel into more than just a monetization method update with like 4 new characters? But why am I so mad? Well, let me try to explain. Overwatch 1 had a pretty great start in 2016. Everyone talked about it, everyone played it, most loved it, it was great. But the game kinda developed problems over time, and especially the updates for new content started to get slower and slower. And don't forget, Overwatch 1 is one of the biggest reasons why we had this annoying phase in video games where everything needed to have loot boxes in it. It wasn't the first game that had it, but it popularized it and proved that we were dumb enough to buy into it. And it was criticized, rightfully so, but most accepted it as a fair trade-off, because in exchange for that they promised us the game wouldn't have DLCs. Instead they would have a consistent flow of gameplay updates with new characters and map and all of it going to be free. And I still think it had one of the fairest lootbox systems in any game. Just look at the current games of lootboxes, or how they are mostly called today, gacha. One lootbox in Overwatch was around like $1, and you got 4 items per box. Not to mention you got one with each level and you leveled pretty fast. 10 pulls in Honkai Star Rail on the other hand costs like $30. But let's not get too deep into that rabbit hole. After a while, the updates for Overwatch started to get kinda slow, which frustrated a lot of players. Because don't forget, they promised constant, significant updates in exchange for having gambling microtransactions. And in 2019, we actually got a reason why they did. Because they already started working on a sequel, with a big focus on it being a Left 4 Dead style multiplayer PvE mode, with story cutscenes, a leveling system, skill customization and all in a co-op campaign. And I have to admit, it looked genuinely awesome. One of the best things about Overwatch for me personally was the characters, the world and the story they told on the side. And there actually are a lot of people that love Overwatch but stop playing it because they simply aren't that into PvP games. So giving those players that enjoy certain characters and playstyles their own mode was a great idea. They also said that all the PvP content updates of Overwatch 2 would also release for Overwatch 1. So from the start, Overwatch 2's entire right to exist was the PvE story campaign. After that, the update stopped almost completely for Overwatch 1. And most were understanding about it. We were getting an entirely new game after all. They would need the entire team to focus on that. Only problem being this was around the time everyone lost trust in Blizzard. Or how most people called them at that point, Activision Blizzard. Their signs were getting stronger year after year, ever since they got bought by the company that CEO is one of the people listed in Epstein's book. Ahem. And a big wake-up call for a lot of players that the Blizzard people fell in love with changed was just 1 year before Overwatch 2's announcement, when they genuinely were shocked by the backlash of their hardcore fanbase not being excited about a mobile-only Diablo with a focus on the Chinese market. Man, I wonder how that went for them! And their reputation only got worse and worse over the years. Botched releases, broken promises, horrible things that went on inside of the company, and after they ran out of characters they could announce as gay after a scandal, they decided to just launch the Overwatch 2 PvP early at the end of last year, to distract of all the shit happening over there, with a promise of a PvE campaign coming somewhere in 2023. Which also meant the only new things at the launch were 2 new characters, a game mode, the removal of 1 tank on each team, like 2 to 3 new maps, and a revamped monetization system. A monetization system that was, and in some cases still is, so bad that everyone rather wanted the gambling back. Speaking of the monetization system, there actually was a 3rd new character, but it was locked behind buying the new Battle Pass. Yay! Or reaching like level 55 out of 80, which could generally take forever, especially because you get less XP if you don't buy it. So yeah, everyone was pretty dire about the situation. Most were actually agreeing though that the game itself was a lot better than ever before. The slight balancing changes and reworks did a lot to make the game feel more balanced and fun for everyone. But you could definitely feel how rushed the game felt. Like, they had to remove multiple characters from the roster for weeks because of bugs. while still allowing you to buy skins for them. The matchmaking to this day is also like the most pathetic thing I ever had to witness in a game like this. 7 out of 10 matches feel completely unsatisfying. I do not know a game that feels more like there are only 2 outcomes to a match. You're stomping the enemy team, or the enemy's team is just bulldozing you like it's your first time ever playing a match against veterans. And after a few hundred hours, it's fucking unbearable. So after actually getting the first 3 battle passes to level 80, I had to take a break off the game. I still enjoy playing it, but the PvP just makes me miserable so fast currently. And right when I personally started to get really desperate for the PvE to actually be able to play the game more without starting to hate myself after an hour, they announced its cancellation. Wow. I genuinely could not feel more disappointed right now. But that's not all. They internally cancelled the PvE late last year. They launched the game, promising us the world, doing everything to justify the 2 in the title, knowing full well that they are lying every step of a goddamn way. At first, I was just disappointed after such a long wait. And of course I was. Everything they announced looked so cool and exciting, and I still would love to be able to play that. But this announcement changed every bit of disappointment into pure hatred. And I genuinely am mad. Everyone is. This was nothing but the biggest fuck you to everyone that believed in them. There is no word around it. To dampen the blow, they actually announced a new roadmap for the next few seasons. Yay! Because we always know how good those went! And a lot of things listed in here actually look and sound really, really good. But here's the thing, who are they expecting to still trust them? After all this, why should anyone still trust them with anything? Why should anyone feel excited about anything they announce? Diablo 4 is launching next month. They also promised us the world with that game, trying to justify their annoying microtransactions in that game with promises over promises. Is the game even launching next month? Or are they also just gonna cancel it like a week before release, saying like haha to everyone who pre-ordered? Like seriously, their trust was always in shambles. The company is breaking apart while we speak, doing everything to get bought by a way bigger company to save themselves from impending doom. This most likely killed Overwatch 2 for a big chunk of the community, and it just further annihilated any last glimmer of goodwill this pathetic excuse of a game company has. And please don't think that anything I have said so far is aimed at even a single developer of a game. No. I do not want to even imagine how agonizing it must have been to work on the PvE mode for so long, just for most of it to be scrapped. All my anger is solely aimed at the management, the leadership that does not deserve, in the slightest, to be in the position they currently are. Well, that felt good, getting this off of me. I don't even actually know if I want to return to the game at all after this, or if I'm even going to trust a single thing they said about Diablo 4 now. I still have this single shred of hope, but with the current state of Blizzard, this is just depressing. So now that I'm finished here,